Well, Bonnie and Clyde the musical, it is coming to Wert Civic Theater, and we're going to meet the two cast members, the two leads of the show. To my immediate left, Cheyenne Weber, and she is Bonnie Parker, and then we've got Ashton Sabatas, and he is Clyde Barrow, and Bonnie and Clyde are with us. So thanks very much for coming today.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so Cheyenne, let's talk about this show, because I was like, you know, sometimes when you read about them, that you feel like, oh, they weren't so bad, but then they did the crime. So what kind of feel does this show have?
The show really makes them into people you can like sympathize with. It really shows their struggles and why they ended up doing what they did without directly commenting on if it was good or bad, which is an interesting angle to take for sure. So it makes it very enjoyable to watch because it's an interesting, fresh take on their story, because it doesn't make them look like evil, but it doesn't make them good people either, just like your everyday person you can meet on the street.
Right, you kind of understand. All right, so Ashton, it's a musical. So how does the music fit into this show then?
So the music is very, it's rockabilly is the genre of it.
Okay.
And it's quite, it can be intense at times, and a lot of the songs are very storytelly. Like songs can be arguments or stuff like that, you know. But mostly it's just about telling their story. And
it's such a unique story to have in a musical form.
It really is, yes.
That's why I'm like, how do you all of a sudden get into a song, you know, sing and dance?
Yeah, so a lot of the songs are more serious in tone, but there are some fun, upbeat ones as well.
And they fit into conversation too, so it's not as like, here's the dialogue, here's the song. Like, it kind of flows into each other, so it's a lot more cohesive, and it doesn't feel as jarring to have a musical, like a music number in the middle of them robbing a bank.
Exactly. Well, and I think it's neat too that, you know, this is a new show for our area. I mean, you know, we haven't heard about this show very much. So is it something that, you know, the adults mainly should come to? I mean,
yeah, it's definitely an adult show for sure. There's a lot of intimacy and, you know, romance, obviously, and just the themes, obviously, of, you know, the guns and the robbing banks and everything. Yeah, it's a really interesting show, especially to do in this area, because it's not a very well-known show. It didn't run very long on Broadway. So it was definitely shocked to see it on the Van Wert page that they were doing this show, and it's awesome to get to be a part of it, honestly.
Right, and it is a period piece, so that's probably kind of cool. But what's it feel like, though, to play actually a person? I mean, do you feel like you need to like read up a bunch on, you know, Clyde and make sure that you get it right, or do you take a little of your own personality?
So I did do quite a bit of research on like who he was as a person, and you find out a couple things. Like, he was a musician, and he felt like he needed to rob things and do things because he wanted to be in control, where during that time people couldn't find a job, they couldn't afford food, they lived in tents and like under viaducts, and it was just not a great time. So being able to put my own twist on, like, if I was in that position, and knowing that he was musically inclined and stuff like that, just I can put myself into there a little more.
And it's definitely easier to be the characters, one, because obviously we're already a couple, so that helps, of course. But like, you know, Bonnie Parker being a poet, I like to write poetry. I'm an artist in that way too, and we're both musicians, so like in that aspect we kind of connect with them. We watched some documentaries and stuff to kind of figure out who they were, but it's definitely a lot more of we see ourselves in them, which is another reason that I think the show is so strong, is because everybody can relate to these characters, even though they were real people. You can still see yourself in them like they were a fictional character.
A really cool show coming up. Bonnie and Clyde tickets are available now. There's the information on your screen. 2 weekends over at Van Wert Civic Theater, September 18th through 21st and the 25th to 28th. Thank you guys for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Break a leg. All right, don't go away. First Edition continues in a moment.